welcome to another YouTube video. In this video, I'll explain how you can improve your bullet rating. I never thought I would actually make a video about this, as bullet chess is not really recommended if you want to improve your chess overall, but I thought it would be fun to talk about, and I got inspired by the Botez Bullet Invitational that was recently held on chess.com. In that tournament, some of the biggest streamers were battling against each other in a bullet arena that lasted for 60 minutes. And one of the participants was Wolfabell. I had the pleasure to have a quick coaching session just before the arena with Wolfabell, and I taught her some tips and tricks for that tournament. Yeah, okay, really good. So out of all of the moves, obviously like the queen to c5 is the best move, and I'm really happy to hear that like you're spotting that one. Basically in the bullet game, what moves you want to go for when your opponent is below 20 seconds is moves like rook takes d7. Like it's a really terrible move, obviously, like I would not recommend this move ever. But the thing is, it's practically a really good move in bullet. She had a fantastic performance, resulting in winning the Best New Player prize, and I am beyond proud of her for that. So without further ado, let's get into what you need to know in order to improve your bullet rating. So first off, please turn on your Premoves and Auto Queen. Premoves are really necessary to have turned on in bullet, as you'll find out that in time trouble you really want to be able to make your moves very quickly, and when you have your Premoves turned on chess.com, the Premoves, you can first of all stack them, and second of all, they only take away 0.1 second from your time. So if you stack 10 Premoves and you're able to do all of the 10 Premoves, you only spend 1 second for 10 moves, which is quite a lot for bullet. Second of all, you need to have Auto Queen turned on. How many times did you actually promote to a different piece than a queen? Many people were asking me this when I didn't have that turned on. It's actually a really good question. Next is time management. Time management is super important in all time controls of chess. You might be surprised, but even in classical, it is really important to keep track of your time, that you're not spending too much time on your moves, because at some point you might suffer in time trouble. So especially in bullet chess, time management is super important, as you only have 60 seconds on your clock. Think about it, it is really hard to checkmate your opponent in only 60 seconds. Imagine how many moves you're able to do in 60 seconds. It's not that much, considering you also need to think a little bit about your moves. But here's the thing. You have to force yourself to not spend more than, let's say, 3 to 5 seconds per move. You cannot afford that. If you're debating whether this or that move is better to play, you should really just choose one. Choose one of them. It doesn't matter so much. As long as you don't get checkmated, you should be fine. Next one is about openings. Study your openings. Imagine if your opponent plays an opening that you've never seen before and you have no idea how to play against it. You will lose a bunch of time on figuring out how to even play there. Now, at the same time, you can surprise your opponent by playing an unusual opening. You can either, of course, stick to your main lines, like play a well-known opening like the Ruy Lopez, or play one of the Sicilians. That is totally fine. But if you really want to surprise your opponent, you might want to consider playing one of the gambits available in chess. Think of the Vienna Gambit or the Stafford Gambit. There are a bunch of gambits that you can try, and I would really recommend to consider playing those in bullet. I would not recommend this in classical chess. However, in bullet, there is not much time for your opponent to figure out how to play against it. On to the next one. Train your tactics by doing puzzles. Not only are puzzles really fun to do, they also improve your tactical skill, which is really important on all levels, in all time controls. So take this as advice if you want to improve on chess overall, but especially in bullet, you will need the tactical skill. Most of the games are decided because there was a hanging piece or there was some basic tactic. That is really often the case in bullet. So why not practice your tactical skill by doing puzzles? Moving on to the next one. This is probably the most fun part or the most horrible part about bullet chess, being dirty. I do not recommend doing this in classical chess. Please don't do that. But for bullet chess, this is how you basically could beat your opponent when it's time scramble. So imagine the following situation. Both of you are down to 5 seconds on the clock and you're trying to play as quickly as possible. You already are making pre-moves, which is really, really good, but it's not easy to flag your opponent. What I recommend you to do in this situation is to try to keep giving checks as much as possible. Your opponent will most likely not expect these checks, which results in their pre-moves canceling out, and they will have to spend much more time responding to your move. And this is really, really beneficial for you. Now here comes the dirty part. What you can try to do is to keep giving checks in such a way that you're hanging your pieces, but because of the fact that your opponent does not expect such bad moves, they will not have their pre-moves ready, resulting in them spending much more time. And that's basically how you can try to beat your opponent in such situation. It is really, really useful to do this. Everyone tries this basically, even grandmasters try this, but it's bullet and you gotta do what it takes to win, right? Finally, we have the Eric Rosen trap. What do you do when you're completely lost, you have almost no pieces left, or none of your pieces can move anymore, but you have your king just flying around on the board? You try to get stalemated, obviously. And this is what Eric Rosen is super, super good at. International Master Eric Rosen is not only a really, really good content creator and a strong chess player, he's also really good at getting himself stalemated while he's in a very horrible position. Now, let's look at an example of the Eric Rosen trap in the following clip, where Wolfabell managed to get away with a draw against Ludwig. Let's have a look. Are we gonna see stalemate, guys? Everybody, are we gonna see stalemate?
She's the greatest player of all time.
So the key point here is that 1, you try to get your pieces stuck. So for example, if you are able to push your pawns, push as much as possible so they can't move anymore and that only your king is able to move. Second, you have to try to give away all your pieces. So obviously you don't have to do this right away, but only if you're in a very losing situation, you know you're gonna lose. So you have to try to go for the stalemate. That's the moment when you have to realize, I need to give away my pieces to try to get stalemated. And the last one is to actually get your king stuck. And that's what Wolfabell did really, really well. She got her king stuck, Ludwig did not realize this, and she got the stalemate. And thus the draw. And it was amazing to see that Ludwig complimented her very, very well for this. Alright everybody, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you enjoyed this, please give it a thumbs up. Let me know down below in the comments what you thought of the video. Maybe after watching this video, your bullet rating has risen, has skyrocketed. I would love to hear those stories. Let me know, and I hope to see you next time. Bye bye!